I had always considered myself a little bit on the other side of the law, you know.
And I had one blue sock, one red sock. They thought I needed direction. You know?
Nick Nolte has spent decades in the trenches of Hollywood, forging a career defined by unfiltered intensity and a relentless commitment to his craft. He is an actor who does not play it safe, whose performances pulse with something unpredictable. Audiences have long been drawn to his rawness, but behind the scenes, his presence has not always been welcomed with open arms. Across his long career, Nolte has clashed with co-stars, irritated directors, and developed a reputation as both a force of nature and a storm that some would rather avoid. Eddie Murphy was one of the first high-profile actors to feel the weight of Nolte's temperament. When 48 Hours hit screens in 1982, it helped shape the modern buddy cop film, setting the stage for decades of mismatched duos forced to work together.
We ain't partners, we ain't brothers, and we ain't friends. I'm putting you down and keeping you down until Gans is locked up or dead. And if Gans gets away, you're gonna be sorry you ever met me.
I'm already sorry.
Murphy, then at the start of his meteoric rise, brought effortless charm, while Nolte embodied the gruff, worn-down cop with nothing left to lose. Their on-screen chemistry was undeniable, but Murphy later admitted the partnership was far from easy. "We didn't get along," he said. The tension was real, seeping into their performances and giving the film a lived-in friction that worked to its advantage. It is no surprise that Nolte, known for his immersion in character, did not make things easier for his co-star.
How's your relationship with Nick?
Drop that gun! Serious, and looked me in the eye. Well, he looked me in the eye, but I was like, I'm from comedy, so instead of getting intense, I go like, hey, don't point that gun at me. And I'm doing this comedy, but he's so intense, like we had to shoot the scene like over and over again.
When they reunited for another 48 Hours, the strain was still present. The sequel lacked the raw energy of the original, perhaps because the real-life dynamic between the leads had become less combustible. Murphy, now a global superstar, had outgrown the need to match Nolte's grizzled ferocity. The film went through extensive rewrites and reshoots, but no amount of polish could recapture the volatile spark that had made their first outing so compelling. The underlying friction between them was not the kind that would blossom into lifelong admiration. Their working relationship ended with the film, and they never teamed up again. Julia Roberts had even less patience for Nolte's approach. I Love Trouble, released in 1994,
Does anybody have a camera?
was meant to be a slick romantic thriller, but the production was anything but smooth. From the moment the cameras started rolling, the relationship between Nolte and Roberts was toxic. "He can be completely charming and very nice," Roberts said in an interview before making her feelings clear. "He's also completely disgusting."
I did one time work.
Moment of brutal honesty in an industry that prefers to keep feuds quiet. Nolte, never one to back down, returned the favor. "She's not a nice person," he shot back. The film suffered as a result. Rather than exuding the effortless chemistry expected of a classic Hollywood pairing, their performances felt forced, their interactions stilted. Rumors swirled that they filmed many of their scenes separately, relying on body doubles to stand in for the moments when physical proximity was unavoidable. Their mutual dislike was not born out of a single incident, but rather a clashing of personalities. Nolte had built a career on unpredictability, while Roberts was a rising star who commanded respect but did not respond well to chaos. Where Nolte saw depth in disorder, Roberts saw an unnecessary disruption. I Love Trouble fizzled at the box office, and neither actor seemed particularly upset that their time working together had ended. If Nolte and Roberts were a mismatch from the start, his dynamic with Tommy Lee Jones was different. Both men were cut from the same cloth. Intense, brooding, unwilling to compromise. Blue Sky, released in 1994, was a showcase for Jessica Lange's powerhouse performance, but behind the scenes, the atmosphere was tense. Nolte and Jones were both known for their seriousness, and when two actors with a need to dominate the room share the screen, sparks tend to fly. Their on-set relationship was not a shouting match or a high-profile feud, but there was an undeniable stiffness between them. Some actors thrive on tension, using it to fuel their performances.
There's a tremendous fear that overwhelms you, and when this fear comes upon you,
Others find it exhausting. Jones, ever the professional, delivered what was required, but the experience did not leave much room for warmth.
And they work totally differently. Like with Tommy Lee Jones, who is a really brilliant guy, I would say that I would not say anything to him about his character. I cast him. He knew the guy he was playing. He knew what to do. And I would just say, look, you come in that door over there. You come over here. You say something to her. You sit down over here. You get up. You go over there. You stop and think. Then you come back, say something else. Then you go out the door. He said, let me see if I have that right. I come in that door, I say something to her, then I sit down here, I think, I go over there, think a little more, come back, say something to her, then I leave. That's it. He'd say to the assistant cameraman, he said, son, come here, put a mark over there, put a mark over here, put a mark over there, I'm ready. And we'd shoot it, and it was perfect.
Terrence Malick's The Thin Red Line was another proving ground for Nolte's temperament. The film was an ambitious war epic, filled with an ensemble cast of heavyweights. Nolte was cast as Colonel Tall, a man fueled by frustration and a desire to leave his mark on history. The role fit him perfectly, but behind the scenes, the atmosphere was less than harmonious. Val Kilmer, already known for being difficult, was one of the many actors Nolte interacted with on set. Their working styles clashed. Malick's direction was precise and poetic, requiring patience from his actors, yet Nolte's energy was anything but restrained. He was a caged animal, eager to push his performance to the limits, while Kilmer operated under his own brand of intensity.
How many men do you think it's worth? How many lives?
The production of The Thin Red Line was sprawling and chaotic by design, but Nolte's presence added another layer of unpredictability. The film's fragmented storytelling meant that not every actor would receive the screen time they expected, and many performances were left on the cutting room floor. While Nolte's scenes remained intact, some of his co-stars found the process frustrating.
The idea that an actor can steal a scene or a film or something like that is it can't really be done because, you know, in the editing process, it's the director that decides how he wants to balance the scene. If he felt it was overbalanced in one way, all he has to do is just cut it out. So you really can't steal a scene at all.
It was a production that demanded patience, and Nolte was not known for his ability to wait quietly. By the time Hulk entered production in the early 2000s, Nolte's reputation was well established.
There's something you need to know about her, Bruce. Something troublesome.
Ang Lee's vision for the film was unconventional, leaning into psychological depth rather than pure spectacle. Nolte was cast as Bruce Banner's father, a tortured, almost mythic figure. His performance was raw, unsettling, filled with manic energy. Some found it compelling, others found it exhausting. Reports from the set suggested that his erratic approach left some crew members unsure of what to expect. He improvised heavily, throwing himself into the role with a reckless abandon that was either brilliant or disruptive, depending on who you asked. His unpredictability has always been part of his allure, but it has also been a source of frustration for those who prefer a more controlled environment. Directors and co-stars who embrace spontaneity have often praised him, recognizing that his method, while chaotic, leads to moments of undeniable brilliance. Others have walked away from projects with a less generous assessment, seeing him as a challenge rather than an asset. Nolte's career is filled with contradictions. He is an actor capable of profound depth, yet his presence can unsettle those around him. He is fiercely committed to his craft, yet unwilling to conform to the expectations of a traditional leading man. Some of the greatest performances of his career have been fueled by conflict, whether real or manufactured.
I have 2 mugshots in my lifetime. It's hard to get those. And if you get them, you better make sure you've examined the circumstances that you got them. So the best way to deal with the biggest mistakes in your life is to discuss them.
His on-set feuds have not always been about personal animosity. More often, they have been the result of his refusal to soften his edges. Looking back at his most notorious clashes, it becomes clear that Nolte does not seek out conflict for its own sake. He is not the kind of actor who thrives on being difficult for the pleasure of it. Rather, he is a man who refuses to compromise, who brings everything he has to a role, regardless of the consequences. For those who can match his intensity, the results can be electrifying. For those who cannot, the experience can be exhausting. His legacy is not one of easy collaboration, but of fearless performance. He has spent decades walking a tightrope between genius and self-destruction, and he has never looked back. In an industry that rewards polish and predictability, Nolte remains a defiant force, unwilling to play by the rules, uninterested in making things comfortable. Some may call that difficult, others may call it unforgettable.